You guys ready for some Steven Crowder bingo? I'm looking to see if there's anyone for Brazen Toxic Masculinity. Vaccine joke? No, not the kind of vaccine joke.
.com. Happy MLK Day, everybody. We work here at Louder with Crowder. We still work. We also, believe it or not, what's this with my headphones are a little loud. We also work on Columbus Day.
Ah, well, yes, we don't take any of it.
Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah.
And, you know, lot to like about MLK. Prostitutes, crack, and orgies, not amongst...
Slut shaming.
them.
No.
We're going to
Speak for
discuss
yourself.
that today. Yes.
Well.
I haven't introduced you yet. He just
I couldn't
spoiled
help
the
it. He
surprise.
Killed it.
Spoiled the surprise. Joe Lewis, get in your place.
He's
Come on.
even out. He's like, screw this.
He's like, this is a bad start to the week.
can't.
So it is MLK Junior Day.
right.
Because often people go, senior?
No. Mm-mm.
And they're like, oh, is that the day that he nailed his the day of the worm diet? It's like,
No.
oh, that's a theological thing. No, we're talking about I have a dream today. That guy.
That guy, yeah.
So we'll be talking about that quite a bit. Also, some new updates here on not only COVID, but hey, half of your country wants to incarcerate you if you deny vax mandates.
What?
Terrifying.
Oh.
Terrifying. A little bit of a callback to last week where I said, hey, do you think for a second that if we didn't have people standing guard in this country, checks and balances, that we would be Australia, we would be Canada? Turns out that almost the entire DNC wants that for you. And this is important. This is what we're going to be talking about. The theme here today is bridled power. And if you live in a country of pacifists, in a place like Australia or a place like Canada, guess who wins? The one person who isn't a pacifist. That's the problem. If you have people who don't stand up, if you have people who don't say, hey, look, this is going too far and do the right thing, guess what? The person who's willing to do the wrong thing wins. And we're just at that edge right now, and dear God, I hope we can correct it. But before we go on, I want to let you know this is a live show every Monday through Thursday,
Yeah.
10 a.m. Eastern. If we're not here on YouTube and we don't tell you, that means that you
right,
can watch it
away
on
from me,
Rumble,
go.
you can watch it on Mug Club. It's going on. We've just been suspended. Which, from what I understand, right, no suspension?
Not so far. We haven't gotten any facts yet from like CDC or anybody else like that.
No.
Just give
Don't
it
do
a
that.
minute.
Do not talk about the CDC changing their guidelines to quarantine for 5 days.
I would never
We
do
would
that.
never, ever discuss it.
No,
So my question to you, before we move on and introduce everybody, what do you know about MLK Jr.? What do you love about him? What do you dislike about him? What do you think you know about him? Because I think there's a lot of, maybe put in your mouth guard. Don't let this tin can I'm about to kick hit you in the teeth. There's a lot of info today, some of which was surprising to me.
Very.
But before we move on and talk about the rest of the news, Gerald A. is here. How are you?
I am well, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. I tested negative for the cron.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you tried to direct from quarantine though. So how'd that go?
Well, it was about as effective as Joel Schumacher directing anything.
Well, that's true.
Only I didn't have the
Hey.
rubber nipples. And we have Tim the Toolman here helping on TriCaster because in third chair, well, we have two people.
Ooh.
We have Quarter Black here who's back, even though I don't know why.
Yes!
It's like the kid who still
I
hangs out by the
snuck
bike
back in.
racks.
Yeah, he
in
was
high
hanging out
school.
by the door when I came in. I'm like, all right, guess I'll let you in.
It's only been a week. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a cultural
back in.
thing. They just like hanging.
Loitering.
They just
I
like.
did show up late though. I'm running on black.
He is running on Canadian time. And if you hear that theme song, that means that he's here. We also have in third or fourth chair, I believe, where is it?
Just take it.
Dave Lando calls you Crawdaddy. That's your nickname.
Says he does.
I
but it
like
hasn't
Crawdaddy.
stuck. It hasn't stuck.
No.
Okay.
Okay, he doesn't.
I think it's stuck.
This
This
thing
is
stuck?
a weird angle here, looking at you.
It's
This guy's
Crawdaddy
0.25
season.
over here.
It is.
Yeah, if you eat 50 of them, you're still hungry.
Were those you mean
3 hours
three
later.
references there? Well, we work.
Oh no, but good. Thanks for ruining my.
Nice pull.
Thanks for reducing my reference to a crappy B comedy.
Terrible. Terrible.
What was that? Was that?
No, we're just saying we work on MLK Day. Sometimes we're like, this is a national holiday. I'm like, well, sure, yeah, you can be fired on a national holiday.
It's a banker's holiday and a government
Yeah,
holiday.
come
I'm
on.
sorry.
Labor Day. What is it? What about the crypto miners? Are they working?
Yeah, they are.
Always.
In-
Well, what are you doing
Yeah.
here? You must have such little confidence in this product. He's like, this bad, not last long.
Indian fellow you were speaking with?
This money, not good.
Italian guy?
Yes, from Sicily. Before we move on to talk about anything else, I have not seen this yet, but TikTok is still cancer.
Ah.
And here is... wait, hold on a second. Quarter Black Garrett, I want to tell people, you have your show, too.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a YouTube channel,
Okay.
Quarter Black Garrett,
Okay.
as well. But I'm working with the guy Gary Beekler on the Nerdrotic channel. We talk about
Nerdrotic.
nerd stuff. so
Okay. Very cool.
Really?
that's what we do.
Yeah. Well, count me interested.
The ladies like the nerd.
Hey, they do.
Are we still racing on our YouTube followers to 1,000? Or
That is correct. No, I'm way past 1,000.
Oh,
I'm at
okay.
24. at
Thanks,
this
I
point.
appreciate that, yeah.
We're racing to 100.
Yeah,
so
all right. Okay, hey guys, the thing about this though is that nobody cares. So TikTok is cancer, and here is further proof.
This is my cover of Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World.
what are we watching?
You know her drama teacher is so proud.
It's a shame we don't just lock people up anymore.
Wow.
Oh, I did the Australian authoritarian state earlier.
Oh, wait. Okay, so first off, if I'm ever prosecuting her for serial killing, I just go Exhibit A,
Done.
and I don't have a B.
Yeah.
I rest my case, Your Honor.
Gosh, for crying out loud. I know everyone complains about the next generation, this isn't music or whatever, but I mean, at a certain point, where do you?
Yeah,
I mean, you're
Jim,
not
come
scraping
in.
the bottom of the barrel. You've scraped your way to China.
It's art. This is
it's
more
like Bjork.
It really is like the 1980s Shaka Zulu stuff, and I'm like, I thought we.
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
already.
What's up, dude?
Oh,
And
Bjork.
better.
I'm feeling it. Hey,
Never
dude.
understood interpretive dance. I don't know.
Hey, everybody, we got Drew Spur in here. He's going to create commentary with me on the Steven Crowder bingo. How you doing, man?
Things are good. Things are good.
Rock and roll. Let's get this party started.
At least the mime. I know he's in a box. He's climbing a rope. But
Here,
this,
I'm gonna try to
what-
load
what is she
the-
trying to
You
say?
got to have the
video up on my
Clydesdales
own.
to drag.
And there
me
was
to the
somebody
Picasso.
else involved in
Watch the
this.
stream.
What's that?
I'm gonna try to load the video up on my end so I can watch it with you.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Or I could just share the screen in Discord and not be a jerk. Make it easy for both of us. Huh. There you go. How's that?
Easy peasy. Let's do it.
There was a second victim here.
Yeah.
There was a hand that wasn't her hand.
No, everybody's a victim.
Yeah.
is true.
We are all victims.
So here's something else I wanted to talk about. This happened this weekend. There was a UFC event, and the president of the UFC, by the way, Dana White. Here's the thing: the UFC was the only sporting event that continued through COVID. We talked about that, Pops Crowder, that it was a big deal. They had testing. They had their own island, and it was very clear that Dana White, the president, was just going like, "This is ridiculous. You just can't stop the world. You can't stop the economy." And of course, he caught a lot of flack, and the UFC overtook a lot of other mainstream sports when that happened. But here's the thing. Oh wait, never mind. We'll talk about that. You know what? Let's talk about this first. Then we'll talk about Australia.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you can't tease me like that.
no. So Dana White was asked actually about this recent controversy with Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Where 270 doctors were saying
Sort
that,
of doctors. Say
sort of
air
doctors.
quotes.
Yeah.
Like there was like
Sort of
PhD
doctors.
people.
Yeah,
like, very
PhD
few
in philosophy.
clinical
Yeah.
doctors.
Oh, not yet.
That kind of doctor.
Yeah, PhD in philosophy. Yeah. Oh my gosh, someone's choking on a plane. Do we have a doctor? I'll save him. Oh my God, what are you gonna do? Read him Kinsey?
What's your relationship with your mother?
Yeah.
Not gonna work.
I've read Freud. I believe he wants to have sex with his mother. Yeah, and he's dead. Wow, he was choking. That didn't help him at all. You just attacked his character.
He's just going to open the plane door in flight. Okay.
Damn Greeks. So, Dana White was asked about this letter written to Joe Rogan about the doctors trying to silence him. And Dana White, not only, I want to show you a sequence of clips here because this reporter who asked him a follow-up question, I know works at Yahoo News. I think his name is I think the second question you hear is from a guy named Kevin at Yahoo News, Kevin Aioli, something like that. And they try and catch him. And then, of course, when he responds on COVID and on the treatment that he's taken, because he did discuss this with Joe Rogan, ivermectin, monoclonal antibodies, the reporters tuck tail. So this is the issue here: is they want to take when they say, "Hey, the science," and they bring you nothing, and you retort with science. They don't want to have a discussion. They don't want to have an argument.
Oh, yeah,
that's
what
a perfect
this
example
entire next
again
bit is all
of
about.
having bridled strength. You need to have.
What was that?
That's what the next bit is all about. Dana talk a lot about how he loves his horse drugs and can't.
Jesus.
Your information at the ready. These people don't want it.
Which
What do I mean by these people?
He'll be
The
talking
people who-
about monoclonal antibodies specifically.
Oh boy. Here we go.
who want to follow the science, the people who want to follow the doctors and ask, "Are you a doctor?" as though your opinion means nothing. The simple retort is, "Are you?" We just need to be clear about this at this point. Either we can have discussions or not. And if you don't want to, don't give me the bullshit about, "Oh, we're indivisible. Oh, we're the United States of America." Really? How about heartbeat pills? No? Okay, well then we're not indivisible. We're not on the same team anymore. You want to kill babies up until and including birth. You want to remove people's ability to make their own medical decisions for themselves and shame someone publicly for it. So let's go to the first answer. And I do want to note, Dana
My
White has
body,
been
my
years
choice.
disease, so
For the
he has
facts,
trouble
but
hearing.
not
So if you're
for
like, if you
abortion.
think that he's not super quick, if he's saying what,
Knocking him down.
Boom. We might not make it through this whole one.
he says it to all reporters, he can't hear as a special earpiece.
I doubt it.
The guy's as sharp as they come. Here he is
Quick.
responding to the fascist, totalitarian supporting press trying to catch him on COVID.
Well, how about this? Ever since I came out and said what I did, it's almost impossible now to get monoclonal antibodies. I don't want to get too political and start getting into all this shit, but ivermectin and monoclonal antibodies have been around for a long time. Now all of a sudden you can't dig them up to save your life. The doctors won't give them to you. Even when I did it here in Vegas, which was however many weeks ago that I had it, like right before Christmas, I think, or something. Yeah, I made one phone call and was able to get it done. And that's not like some f***ing rich famous guy. Like anybody could have
Yes,
called. And,
cut that off at the
you know,
pass.
that's what
Brilliant.
everybody always
Yeah,
throws. Of course you can make a phone call and get it. Bullshit. Everybody could have got it back then.
Yeah, and then even in the comment section underneath, there's people going, "Yeah, you can if you're a multimillionaire." It's like, you literally addressed it right there. By the way, you know who else got it? Pops Crowder.
Sure.
Mrs. Crowder.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I got it. You got it.
Yep, it was very, very easy to get. Now it's impossible. Now, that being said, it may not work against the Omicron because some of the treatments that were effective may no longer work because of the mutation of the virus. You can blame the unvaxxed. I don't think that's why we have all the mutations. But, I'm not a doctor. So he answers here, and then listen to this follow-up where a smart-ass reporter doesn't address what he just presented, which, if we all want to find common ground, is entirely reasonable. Is there anything unreasonable about what he just said? No. He just said this is something that was accessible. No one denies monoclonal antibodies were effective in treating. No one, including former Vice President Biden, including Fauci. That's not one of those treatments where people are saying, "Oh, we don't think it works." He was just talking about how it's no longer available. Anyone here think that there's anything at all out of bounds in what he said?
No, and this is the question that so many people that had COVID and were on looking at going on a ventilator were asking, like, can I please get monoclonal antibodies? Can I please get some kind of treatment other than going down this road that doesn't typically end well for
Well,
you?
my wife got it.
Jesus,
She
yeah.
hit her pretty hard. She got pneumonia, and the first couple times we went into the ER, nothing. They just sent her home with no treatment.
Tylenol. We can
no,
play
not even
border
Tylenol.
instead, where you
no
have
suggestion on what
all
to
of
do.
the ones
and it took
in
us.
the
We had to go out on our own
make
and
it a little
find
longer
a
of a
doctor.
game.
What's that?
Border instead, so you get all the ones on the outside, not the ones in the middle, just to make it a little more interesting.
I'm game.
But yeah, we're gonna get bingos quick.
It's so funny.
That would prescribe a treatment for it. And then it was too late. Eventually, she had to go to the doctor again.
The emergency
and
room.
The emergency room, and then they admitted her. She had pneumonia, and then they treated her with the same treatment.
Said vitamin C, zinc.
vitamin D, zinc.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're going, well,
Same
the stuff that is, witch doctor medicine. It's like, why are you doing it now? Well, because she might die. So, something is better than nothing. Oh, well, wouldn't that have been better than before she could have almost died? I don't know, man. Don't push your politics on me, pal.
And we should say, too, that monoclonal antibodies, free.
Right.
Right. Can we move his mic in there a little bit? I think he's a little bit far.
They want to say it's
He
only
leans back.
I
accessible.
don't think
Well,
Big
no,
Pharma
no,
did think
absolutely free.
people
And I
would
think
be
I've said
so
a dozen people
dumb as
just like
to
you.
Yeah.
like.
So here he is, a follow-up reporter trying to catch Dana White,
Think
asking him
that,
a smart-ass
they
remark, and then
could
tucks
get
tail and does
people
not,
to
in
take the
fact,
vaccine.
stand and substantiate his own argument. Here you go.
Are you surprised at the backlash that people don't even want to allow you to discuss options and pre-treatment?
It's disgusting. I'm not talking about experimental drugs or things that this stuff's been around. And the ivermectin, the guy won the Nobel Peace
Watch
Prize.
this, jeez.
Huh?
Watch this.
No, but there's plenty of
There
doctors
you go.
that do.
Watch it. Here he comes. No, but I took them and they both worked for me. So why shouldn't I be able to take them again? Or other people? No, come on, dive in.
Throw the questions out.
All right, you want to know what's scary? Bet I could get some pain pills quicker than I could get monoclonal antibodies. No, not maybe. That's a fact.
Maybe.
That's a fact. They hand out pain pills like they're Tic Tacs.
Yeah. There you go.
That's exactly how you handle it. He just does not care.
Are you a doctor? Are you?
pivot
I'm not going to
to
answer
the
that. Then shut up.
Sacklers.
No, come on. Dive
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Grab
Give
that.
them
And he
all
says
the
maybe on the
money.
pain pill thing.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Because
What's that?
And I said, yeah, give them all the money.
Right?
Why not?
You know.
I think that one would count as most civilians aren't doctors, so let's not listen to doctors.
Yeah, I could see that. I concur.
the industry is pain. He would know.
He would know.
Wait a minute. Wait. Athletes get pain pills and injections so that they can go out and perform even though they have injuries that would make the rest of us crawl back into bed in the morning?
Yeah, but don't deny the science and take monoclonal antibodies.
For the
Take another Percocet.
sniffles plus.
Conspiracy.
Don't take CBD or don't use kratom. That could be addictive.
Oh.
Take a Vicodin.
Yeah. That's better for you.
Don't take a leaf.
Opioids.
Just
Go for that.
doctor shop.
Yeah. So this is just go send the guy some support because he's been catching flack from those on the left. The cultists. I don't think that anyone can argue at that point that you are not a cultist if you think that back and forth went any way other than complete verbal domination of someone who's trying to be a smartass. But here's the thing: the left, they don't. This is the thing with this show. All references are available at loudercrider.com, right? We talk about this all the time. We try to serve to not exist in an echo chamber because we will be attacked.
Yeah.
We're attacked constantly. The left usually just says, "Are you a doctor? Checkmate." No, that's not exactly how it works. You're going to have to come with a little bit more than that. I won't answer that. Why? Because you're a stranger. I think it's because you're
Because you're
Double standards.
There you
It's
go.
unbelievable.
Hey, really quickly, can we bring up
That's
CNN? I just want to
pussies.
highlight this UK man thing that they're talking about here with the synagogue thing. Do me a favor too. Can we bring up the name of the person because that name has been released on the person who
The name of the synagogue hostage? Yeah.
and took people hostage.
White supremacist.
Right? Exactly. No. UK man. He's a Brit. They said
Very
British man
traditional
earlier.
British
They
man.
wanted to, I guess, fewer things. It's
Old
like
English
a 44-year-old UK man. We'll just want to highlight something here in a few minutes. So I don't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. You're not interrupting. You can feel free to come in at any point. So they haven't mentioned the name here on CNN.
No, not
They
yet.
say a Texas synagogue was a 44-year-old UK man. All right.
What does that make you think of?
What is first thing?
UK man. What comes to mind first?
Mr. Bean went in there.
Yes,
too.
yes.
Mr. Free up a known
Mr.
terrorist.
Bean went into a synagogue and went,
Yeah. On the Sabbath, right? Yeah. Couldn't possibly be anything else. Went there on the Sabbath to a synagogue, not a random place that happened to have 4 Jewish people walking around, including a rabbi. A synagogue on a Sabbath, but he's a UK man.
I've been to a synagogue on the Sabbath once. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's positively crawling with Jews.
Lots of them.
You can't move.
didn't
You
know that.
can't throw a penny without hitting a Jewish person.
Huh? You mean
And then taking it.
they go to church
There's
on the
the
Sabbath?
anti-Semitic
Huh?
joke.
Synagogue. I like it.
Synagogue.
Well, that's church.
We'll bring up that name in a couple.
Yeah.
They put it on their website that no one reads.
Oh yeah.
Nailed it.
Well, apparently he just pulled up something that no one can read.
It's completely dark screen. Sorry.
He just pulled up his Black Lives Matter Instagram post.
Exactly.
Hey, it's MLK.
Right, they're about to go into the MLK shit. Watch this.
Oh no, they've still got a little bit of time.
Oh shit.
Is it February already?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Slipped it in.
I've heard of Letterbox. Is that only box? What is that you're bringing up? We'll grab it in a second.
Yeah, we'll
so
get-
here's something else as far as terrifying. I talked about this not only last year, but I talked about it last week. Regarding the United States being the last bastion of freedom, when people say, "Oh, we're all Americans," and the right has gone too far. Do you want to know how far the left would go? People say the right has gone too far right. Compare Ronald Reagan compare him to anyone today. Actually, the right has become more moderate in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The right has become more moderate and the left has become more extreme. If you want to know what the mainstream left would have in the United States as it relates to COVID, as it relates to your personal liberties, it's very easy. Just look at what mainstream left, mainstream liberals, what they've achieved in other countries, places like Australia, places like Canada, places like the UK. That's what they would have here. Now, new poll came out that was shocking. We had to double, triple, quadruple check it. It's available, link in the description, loudercrider.com. But first, here is me talking about this last week. Keep in mind, the only fail-safe that you have here in the United States is that there is still some semblance of a conservative wing. When people say, oh, both sides. No. One side wants you to be forced into lockdown. One side wants the kind of concentration camps that they have, quarantine camps in Australia. Now, I don't want to do the Alex Jones and be like, I told you about this. I told you about this 4 years ago. They had big humanoid hybrids, okay? They are duct taping swine scalps to rats and then forcing them to mate with humans. Gay frogs!
All correct, by the way.
I said they were turning the frogs. Hey, look, today, brings up a picture of just a frog and a Liza Minnelli fan. Yep. I told you! Come on, colloidal silver.
The signs were there.
Gotta have him back.
Yes, we absolutely do.
Via helicopter.
Yeah,
Love Alex.
Here's the
That
thing.
happens to us whenever we do that.
I was not only correct, I just didn't know how quickly and how severely it would escalate. New Rasmussen survey just came out. So it doesn't surprise you, 78% of Democrats support a vaccine mandate. Yep. Okay. Are these overlays not working? It's just a black box, guys.
I think we had a black box issue.
Yeah, we have a black
I
box
told you, it's
issue.
MLK Day.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Well, let me know when you guys have that
fix
fixed.
it,
I'll read this here from the map. I have the overlays in front of me. I can just bring it up.
And all references on the
website.
as well, so yeah.
59%, though, of Democrats favor unvaxxed people being confined to their homes at all times.
There we go.
There we go.
Nice job.
Hey.
45%, this surprised me, 45% of Democrats favor internment at special facilities for those who refuse the vax. That's basically half. Half of all Democrats. And by the way, this includes Democrat voters who think that former Vice President Biden has gone too far. This includes half of Democrat voters who think that we're at the point where we should be past the curve. This includes half of Democrat voters who think that we've gone too far. Keep in mind, this is not the Democratic Party representatives. You know that this is more moderate than the party of Nancy Pelosi and AOC. This is the voting base. Half of them believe that you should be interned. You should be put in an internment camp if you don't take the VATS. The VATS. They also want VATS. That's another stuff.
This is the whole reason that when we started talking about the internment camps in Australia, everybody was like, "Oh, come on, you're overblowing it. This could never come to the
Quarantine
United
is
States."
the same as concentration
voluntary
camps.
quarantine summer camps. It's the summer of love in Portland. It could be summer camps.
Voluntary.
Quarantine is the same as fucking concentration. Jesus Christ. These guys
he's
are
so nutty.
horrible. What the fuck, man? The grift is strong with these brothers.
Oh yeah, it's not even dog whistle anymore. They're just open with it.
Yeah, it's brazen.
Yeah.
Quarantine services.
Yeah, but
But by the way, if you
that's-
escape, there's a manhunt.
Well, yeah, but it's also not voluntary. That's
also the thing. What they do is they show up, they go, hey, listen, we had a positive test for COVID, and what we have here is you can drive yourself to the internment camp voluntarily, or the police car can drive you, and you have to pay $5,400. Choice is yours. It's voluntary. And I'm like, well, crap. Do I have to watch the net? That's part of the deal.
I had voluntary summer
every room.
workouts at Notre Dame. Yeah, they'll just cancel your scholarship if you don't show up, but it's voluntary.
Last time I ate bad shrimp, I had voluntary diarrhea.
These places have no stopgap. There is no. Yeah, and that's what we're looking at.
So
Nothing in their constitution
if not for
to
us.
stop
Yeah.
No.
45% of Democrats favor internment special facilities. In a word, that means that Democrats want they want this.
So this I'm going to give you a warning, yeah? It's an official warning that you have to stand above
The real
Why are these
Australian
guys gonna have it?
authoritarian
That's why
state
you
right
think.
here.
What's that?
This is the real issue of the Australian authoritarian state. That's why I put it in there. It's their example of it.
Oh, let's see this.
It makes no sense, does it?
Yeah, but you can't leave your balcony to go to the fence to talk to somebody else. That's what's obvious, yeah?
So if I was
Yeah,
on
No,
the
it's not.
balcony-
It's not obvious. It's the
There
opposite.
has to be lines everywhere drawn, yeah?
No.
And
Stop
one
saying
of
yeah.
us is you cannot leave your balcony and you cannot go to someone else. Where it makes no sense, where it doesn't seem right to you, that is the line, and that's what the law is here, and that's how it goes, yeah? While you're here, can we just do that? Otherwise, the next time it's a $5,000 fine. We don't want to do that.
It's a $5,000 fine if what?
If you breach again.
If I walk out onto that path.
Without your mask on,
With-
no reason other than the rule.
If I cross that yellow line, that I've broken the rule,
This is
I will be
insane.
issued with a $5,000 fine.
That's right.
So let me just be really clear here when we use the term voluntary. This is a voluntary quarantine camp where you are held against your will. You are forced to stay behind the yellow line of your porch against your will,
AJ.
unless you're wearing a mask and exclusively going to do laundry, or you're fined $5,000. That's what voluntary looks like. I just want to make sure that it's not. Comment below. Have I misunderstood this entire time the concept of voluntary?
I think so. Under government compulsion, it's voluntary.
Yeah. Changing the meaning of words, you know.
You can't go past the balcony. It's obvious, yeah?
Right? But that was
It's obvious what? You can't go home. You expect to be able to go for a walk? Obviously, you can't do that, yeah? Well, you expect you're going to, just feed yourself?
personal freedom.
What are you, nuts? You out of your mind?
And look, this isn't. I thought this was clickbait. When I saw some of the stats on this come out, I was like, "Oh my gosh, hey guys, take a look at this. Make sure you research it and confirm this stuff." Because I'm like, "There's no way that this is true life," and it is.
Yeah.
47%. This one didn't make it in there, but I found it. 47% favor a government tracking program for the unvaccinated. They want the government to know where you are at all times.
You see that like it's a problem.
unvaccinated.
It is a problem. You say that like it's a bad thing. Look, I could do that trick too.
We're
That
all
kind of
gonna
way.
die.
Like, you can make anything seem bad if you say it like that. Like I could say gang rape. No, I say it like that. It sounds bad. But if I say gang rape,
Sounds a little fun.
Gang rape,
Oh,
yeah.
here you
gotta
go.
say
Here's
it
a
like
red
that.
shirt.
Good time.
Nice.
sounds like a party. Like an
Great
orgy
joke.
that MLK would be it.
You know, I thought Australians were hardy folk. I really did. But
No,
anybody-
Did we miss any other ones?
No, I've been going through it. It's all right.
Rock and roll.
Anybody that acquiesced to the crown, you look at Canada, these people, they're different. They have aligned differently, and this is the perfect test.
They gave up their guns.
Their whole society is based on that.
Canada is the perfect control test versus what we're doing here.
Yeah. Well, here's another
They have
stat.
Been willing to give up any right.
48% of Democrats, these are the Democrat voters. Again, so this is going to be far more moderate than the people in charge,
Yeah.
the people who want to do it with a filibuster, the people who want to make it illegal for states to require ID to vote. This is the voting base. So this is as moderate as you are going to get. 48% of Democrats favor fining or imprisoning people who publicly question vaccine
There you
efficacy.
go.
Half of the
Democrats
Democrat
want you
voting base
imprisoned.
believe in imprisoning you if you question the efficacy of the vaccine, which, by the way, Fauci just said everyone's going to get Omicron.
The freaking Pfizer CEO came out and said, yeah, it doesn't provide a whole lot of protection unless you get like the 3rd or 4th booster or whatever it was.
But they love their Trump
Does that
vaccine.
count?
They love the Trump vaccine.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it gets worse than that. So
How many boosters do you need?
I think it's 19. Sort of like when people say, the Earth is warm, 0.7 degrees. I go, well, what temperature should the Earth be? Lower?
I'm not going to answer that question.
It should be
I'm not a
less.
scientist.
Are you a doctor, Stephen?
It should be less than 0.7 increase. It should be less than that.
So you're not a doctor. Okay,
How
fine.
dare you?
Yeah.
Okay, so they believe in imprisoning people for publicly questioning that. I know you're saying, well, this is just a poll. Okay, hold on a second. Where else have we seen people be imprisoned for questioning? People be imprisoned for speech? People be imprisoned simply for not complying? Well, we have a couple for you. Let's go on back to the Outback.
But yesterday, things really stepped up a notch. When officers arrived, it became fairly physical fairly quickly, and the shop owner, a 53-year-old man from Wishart, was arrested as people watched on and filmed on their mobile phones. He now faces several charges, including obstruct police and also failure to comply with a health directive. It's expected he'll face court in March.
Isn't it funny how that's obstructing police, but George Floyd was compliant?
Very compliant.
Yeah.
Just look at it.
Very compliant, Steve.
It was believed that he ingested a speedball before being escorted peacefully, and the police clubbed him like a baby seal, like the Inuit do. But, then he tried to get off his balcony with a yellow line. What do we can't have. A society will just pull up the thread. And then in Canada, my horrible homeland, I'm ashamed. I used to have a dual citizenship. I don't think that I ever renewed it. I don't plan on ever going back at this point. I wish I could be prouder of Canada than I am.
It's for life, Stephen.
I'm ashamed. Well, I don't care. I reject.
I rip it up.
I reject.
I
every
defect.
ounce.
I defect my Canadian
Pour out the
citizenship.
maple syrup.
And any Canadian who is not disgusted with what's going on in your country right now, shame on you. Absolutely. And I don't use that term lightly. You should be. You guys should be. I shouldn't say just ashamed. You should be embarrassed. The men of Canada right now.
Yes.
You honestly should feel embarrassed. This is embarrassing for you because in Canada they do imprison. Here's that pastor who was arrested. This is like the 3rd time he's been arrested. Here you go.
This is sick. You get orders from corrupted politicians, corrupted leaders, and this is what you do.
Huh.
What's going through their head?
Just
Like, what's going
following
through this
orders.
police officer's head?
Yeah.
Is this what they signed up for? Like, you hear that all the time in these videos. Is this what you signed up for when you signed up to protect and serve?
To arrest
What are you
pastors?
thinking of?
Yeah.
Like,
By the way, just
arresting
following
pastors,
orders?
arresting business owners, arresting just citizens.
Yeah. People for walking their dog past curfew.
Just following orders has never been accepted.
Never.
When you're doing stuff like this.
As a matter of fact, I think it's always the last line of the bad guy, of the coward bad guy in the film, who's the second in command to the real bad guy. His last line before he gets blown away is usually, "I was just doing my job. I'm doing mine."
And so Gerald's point earlier about like some 40% of Democrats being in favor of
Wait,
trying the system
what?
in Canada, also from Canada. This is from Mission Control. The search is on in Canada for an anti-vaccination dad who is accused of hiding his 7-year-old daughter to keep her from being vaccinated against COVID-19. The search is on.
What in the hell are
Check
we
the
doing?
floorboards.
Yes. Now listen, I'll bet you. I would bet my bottom. I bet my bottom euro. I don't know what they use in Australia. I'll bet my bottom dollar, my bottom knife that you're gonna find that kid underneath the yellow line on the balcony. It's obvious.
The accent's so fucking bad, dude.
Right? And of course, they use the euro in Australia.
Right. Flexing those intelligence muscles there.
In the attic. Sorry.
Stupid cowards from a stupid penal colony.
That's where we are now.
Yeah.
You have to hide your kid in the attic so that they don't get forcibly vaccinated.
Yeah.
Well, and here in the States, we have mothers putting their children in the trunk of their car because they want to quarantine them.
Yeah.
You gotta hand it to that pastor though. You have kids. You know, little ninja move where they go limp.
Yes.
And make them carry you. Yeah. And you cannot gather up the goo. to carry-
That's really, yeah, he's going.
It's like when you try and, that thing that you get at like Dollar Tree, the toy that keeps slipping out of your hand. Uncircumcised penis.
Why do you have to bring that up?
Wait. I'm sorry. I thought we were looking at communist China arresting pastors. That was Canada.
Yes.
Just to be
Yeah.
clear.
Yes.
Okay. I thought this was like a repressive regime known for violating human rights.
Oh, I get it. You're repeating yourself. So 29%, while we're talking about kids, favor removing custody of Democrat voters now. 29%. So let's round it to 30. If I may, round it to 30. Favor removing custody of children from parents who are unvaccinated. Favor removing custody just because the children are unvaccinated. And I know, we say, okay, that's happened. We just showed some clips from things that have happened elsewhere. But something like this is a bridge too far. That would never happen in the United States, right?
I miss my son more than anything. It's been very difficult. I haven't seen him since August 10th.
August 10th, that's the day Rebecca Furlid appeared in court via Zoom along with her ex-husband for a child support hearing involving their 11-year-old son. Now, the two share custody or had shared custody in parenting time 50-50. She says out of the blue, Cook County Judge James Shapiro asked her whether she'd been vaccinated. She told him no, she had not because she's had bad reactions to vaccines in the past. Judge Shapiro then ordered that she be stripped of all parenting time with her son until she gets vaccinated.
Can I just order Judge Shapiro to be stripped?
Oh, my gosh. Wow. I mean, think about how that's going to go. 29% think that they could just show up at your door and knock. Do you think parents are willingly giving up their kids? Do you think parents are really going to let you show up with guns
through the
drawn
context
and take
of
their children?
I think a lot of parents will, unfortunately.
Some kind of divorce or legal action that I'm sure was brought on by the dad. Like, they didn't just randomly come out and do that shit.
Yeah, and they're acting like they took her kid and put them in some sort of government holding camp or something. No, they gave it to the dad.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Like, maybe the kid was immunocompromised or something. I'm sure that's something that they're going to deliberately leave out, or
What?
they got to cherry pick facts.
Context doesn't mean shit to Crowder.
Of course not, Did he get a click or a view off of it? He's good,
Yeah. And that's look, this is something that I just discussed the other day. Okay. And I think this is important. because the left tries to say, oh, the right is calling for civil war, and that's not at all what's happening here. I think it's important for people to understand people often operate based on emotion, or they can be rash, and you need to make sure that you don't do that, right? You need to make sure that you're disciplined. But then a lot of people on the flip side operate out of fear, out of cowardice. How do you know when you're doing that? This is sort of a litmus test that I use. If something is happening that's very emotionally disturbing, something that could obviously get you, let's say, very heated, and you set a deadline or a timeline. You say, look, I'm going to sit, I'm going to wait, and don't do anything rash. I'm going to wait 2 days before I respond, or I'm going to wait 2 days before I make my decision. And if you find yourself not honoring your self-imposed timeline, that means you're acting out of emotion. That means you need to get that in check. That means you're not being disciplined. On the flip side, if you set a line in the sand and you say, all right, you know what? No one can come to my house and take my children. And then you find yourself not honoring your own self-imposed line in the sand, you're a coward. If then that line gets breached and you go, well, I guess they're just taking the kid to the camp for 2 days. That's not that bad. The first example, you're acting out of emotion. That's a bad thing. But the second example is just as evil. You're acting out of cowardice and fear. You need to put those boundaries up. You need to make sure you're not acting out of emotion. You're not just acting because you're mad or you're sad or you're feeling a certain way in that moment. You need to make sure you're not doing that, but you need to make sure that there is a line and don't allow that line to be crossed. Figure out what it is, or you're acting out of cowardice.
Yeah. Historically, it never goes well when they come and take your guns, when they come and take your speech, when they come and take you to a place because you're othered for whatever reason.
Gun control is bad.
I'll say it. Sorry.
Yep,
If you want to talk about Nazi Germany in the 1930s, it was not far off from what we see today.
No, they even said they carried viruses.
Yeah, they absolutely did. It was othering people, but it's happened in other countries, right? It's happened in Cambodia. Almost 1 million people died in the killing fields there. Do you want to just keep trying this? It happened in Russia in the revolution. Do you want to just keep doing this and see if it maybe goes better this time?
Right.
Because we would all look back at Nazi Germany or look back at Pol Pot's regime in Cambodia and say, I wish the neighbors had stood up for their friends, but they didn't.
Right.
When the people came to take them and they knew it was wrong, no one pushed back. And
I think you're always going to find people that think that they're on the correct side. They think, I'm not going to be affected by these things. Whenever they get their children taken away, it's never going to be my children.
Right.
Well, it always is. It'll eventually get to you.
Yeah. And this is the issue, too, of bridled power. You need to find yourself in a position of power and very rarely exerting it. Because guess what? If you're not, they come and take your kids and there's nothing you can do. If you're weak, you don't have an ace in a hole to play. Do you understand that? This is something that people need to understand. You need to be powerful. You need to be capable
comparing those to Nazis
of acts that might scare people, that might scare yourself. You need to be able to, you need to fear what you're capable of and not act on it until that time comes. And I will tell you, for me, my line in the sand, kids, want to take my kids away? Want to make it so I can't see my kids? Them's fighting words. Hopefully I'm not out of line.
There's probably a lot of other reasons
let's move on from this.
MLK
MLK Junior Day.
Yeah, Junior.
I always need to clarify. Junior.
Yes.
Because some people are like, middle child?
So that one was Them's
Fighting
Fighting
For,
I think. I just don't. Yeah.
Could be like George Foreman. They're all named George.
That's true.
Yeah.
What was that one?
Them's Fighting.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Seems to be his catchphrase. Like his shirt. This dad fights like hell. Or there's always something fight on his shirt. He always wants to fight for some reason.
I'd love to see that.
Even the girls.
Regina. That's not a great. I'm not going to say.
George Foreman. He's unbelievable. I would love to have him on the show.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
man.
Guy's an American treasure.
When people say that people can't change, I say George Foreman.
I love his grill.
George Foreman. No, well, the grill is fine.
Yeah.
But they weren't just planning on George Foreman, by the way.
That's extra. That's on top. That's plus.
That's plus.
Yeah, that's icing on the cake. You're right.
The reason I love this grill is the fat goes off the meat and it goes down and it's healthy. It's like, you mean like all grills? Pretty much, but mine uses a battery.
Well,
But you lose all of the grease and the tasty bits.
You can always buy my grill at Meineke.
Look, I bought it. All right, I was buying.
This George Foreman was he was an angry man.
Yeah.
Retired, became a minister, had a near-death experience. Anyone out there right now? Okay, so we have most of you watching, really a lot of you young, under the age of 25. So your impression of George Foreman, do you see him as an angry black man with a scowl, or do you see him as a happy grill salesman? One of the happiest people you've probably ever seen as an athlete celebrity. That's how he's known. That's the exact opposite of what he was as a person, how he was presented as an athlete until he had his actual come to Jesus moment. When they say people can't change, I say George Foreman. So, unfortunately, MLK did change as well.
Yeah.
Now, let me be really clear about this. I like a lot of what MLK Jr. had to say. I certainly think that his speech has been, pardon my language, shit on by today's left, where he talked about the content of character.
Yeah.
These were values that we would all align ourselves with.
Yeah.
However, MLK did become far more radical as life went on, and there's a lot that you don't know about MLK Jr. And I want to be clear, there are values, of course, that he espoused that we agree with.
Yeah.
But the man was flawed, like a lot of men. But the issue here is, if it's going to be a national
He's
holiday while you're
already
tearing down
misquoting.
statues of people who fought against slavery, like Abraham Lincoln, or even people who freed slaves upon their death, we're talking about George Washington Jefferson, then you can't have a statue and you can't have an MLK Jr. Day, because what I'm about to tell you is a lot worse.
I didn't know a lot of this.
Yeah. And everything.
The wife of MLK actually gave his letters and all of his writings to somebody at Stanford, and he specifically formed MLK in a way that would be palatable. So he cut out all of the stuff that's
all the
negative,
rough edges.
all the rough edges. So that's why we have and he advocated for the MLK Day.
Out of his ass.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Everything we're about to share with you comes directly from congressional records, archived newspapers, MLK's own speeches. And I know the FBI is not an organization that I trust. Okay, I want to be very clear. However, none of the evidence that we'll be providing for you here.
So I will mention one thing
by anyone in the MLK camps.
Yeah, they just don't like how
So
they
I'll mention one thing. That square is kind of a two-parter. He says he doesn't trust the FBI, but later on in the episode, he goes to the point where he uses the FBI and what they've said about MLK as evidence. So he doesn't trust the FBI, but later on he'll be talking about what they have to say about MLK.
Sounds about right. Let's go.
Right. It was surveillance transcripts that were reported by a guy named David Garrow. But he also, this is the biographer. He obtained these transcripts from the FBI. He was the official biographer on MLK. He won the 97 Pulitzer Prize. So this is a man who was very pro. Did I say?
You said 90, 87.
87. Yeah. And the FBI surveillance audio will be released in 2027. I don't know why they picked that year. I have no idea.
Specific year?
Later, you know. They're like, oh crap, it's getting closer.
So here's something you probably know that the MLK, for example, let's start with this. Support a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
Okay. That is true. Sometimes. He also had some pretty, I guess you could say, unsavory opinions about riots that I do think need to be considered because a lot of people don't know this part.
We continue to say to my brothers and sisters that this is not the way. We continue to affirm that there is another way. But at the same time, it is as necessary for me to be as vigorous in condemning the conditions which cause persons to feel that they must engage in riotous activities as it is for me to condemn riots.
I agree with everything thus far.
I think America must see that riots do not develop out of thin air.
That's
Certain
right.
conditions continue to exist in our society, which must be condemned as vigorously as we condemn riots. And in the final analysis, a riot is the language of the unheard. What is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed
It's
to hear
true.
that the plight of the Negro
Right,
poor
it's
has
the
worsened
language
over
of
the
the
last
unheard.
few years. It has failed to hear that the promises of freedom and justice have not been met. And it has failed to hear that large segments of white society are more concerned about tranquility and the status quo. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again.
See, and that's the problem is the open-endedness to it because, well, what is justice? Well, right now people are saying, oh, injustice is there are too many Asians at Stanford. So let's burn down a Walgreens.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Be more specific
You need to be a little more specific, and let me be clear, too, at another 1960s.
That's a misquote.
Yep.
Speech, and
Definitely.
we'll get to the crack whores, and we'll get to the orgies, we'll get to all of that.
Taking it completely out of context.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, edited to hell, right, said Rob.
Which a lot of you don't know about MLK. 5 things you don't know about MLK. Bet you didn't expect to hear MLK and crack whores.
What?
Today. I have a dream of non-crack whores at a Motel 6.
Nope, no.
I don't think crack exists.
You wouldn't go Motel 6.
I'm probably not.
Yeah,
Just whores in general, then. So a 67 speech, King said, urban riots are a special form of violence. They are not insurrections. Disagree.
Good to know.
Said the rioters are not seeking to seize territory to attain control of institutions, which today they are. That's their stated goal, Black Lives Matter. They are mainly intended to shock the white community. The looting enables the most enraged and deprived, I'm using his word here, Negro to take hold of consumer goods with the ease the white man does by using his purse. This goes on a lot. If you look at some of his statements regarding riots and regarding violent protest, it's worse than I thought. I thought he kind of both sides it. He actually more often encouraged violent protesting than he discouraged it, and that is probably disappointing to a lot of people.
Yeah, he's making excuses for people basically losing their minds. Look, I get it.
Oh,
There was
JJ,
so much
he
injustice.
did,
I have no
trust
idea
me.
how I would feel,
Yeah,
but I
he
probably
did- he
wouldn't
did the
then
rape joke
go
for
and
sure.
burn down or rob a local store owned by other black people in my community.
That's the
And I
thing.
would never justify it and say, well, it is just as easy as a white man using his purse. Well, first of all, men and purses, this was beginning of the...
I'm talking about Europe, Gerald A.
It's not a European man bag, Stephen. All right?
Well, it seems that he doesn't clarify, or he's flip-flops, because there is another interview where he specifically says that riots are against the black community. Because then the same thing that we've said before, in 2020, it destroys their own community, and it does the opposite of what you want it to do. And he says, you can kill a murderer, but you can't kill murder.
Well,
You can
Pops
stop that
Crowders,
stuff.
you're the Detroit riots, which you were alive
You
for.
went
That really hurt the white man, right, in his purse.
We didn't feel it at all.
No. But yeah, he needs to,
We
whenever he
stayed out
says
of
stuff
the
like
fray.
that, he should have combined it with what he said later in a different interview.
Yeah.
It hurts the black community to do this, and then say they do this because they're being oppressed.
You know what must
It's
be
not a
condemned
good
just
thing.
as vigorously
You have to
is the
condemn-
harming of your own community. That's what
Yeah,
needs to be
exactly.
condemned just as vigorously. Think of the Detroit riots. And then they blamed what? White flight. Detroit riots. Like, well, first off, that's not what happened. Second, you burned down your own communities in Detroit. Black people were harmed. And you know who got the worst end of that stick? Was black police officers. They had to go home in unmarked cars because they were being picked off by snipers on rooftops. You cannot find examples of riots from the 1970s onward that were targeted specifically, let's say, against just white people, which would be racist, but at least would just make maybe sense. No, it ends up hurting people in their own community, and that needs to be condemned just as vigorously. Oh,
So
we don't
that
find
was
maybe because
mentioning
number
racial
2,
disparity
we're talking
as
about-
hate speech against whites.
Yeah,
That was definitely like
for sure.
because he was talking about the black community hurting themselves and how they're trying to hurt the white people, but I don't know. Steven Crowder just boils me.
Oh yeah. This is fucking beautiful though. Doing this bingo is great.
Yep, and that'll be another bingo for me.
Oh shit, you're on a roll, man.
I'm gonna have to generalize this a lot more so we can have one to just enjoy some of Steven Crowder and his nonsense and laugh at him, and who knows.
I love this though. This is perfect. Play fucking
Things that you may not have known about MLK. Worked with communists.
Yeah.
Very closely. And I don't mean
No.
that in the sort of sense where people are like, pinko commie. I mean, one of his top advisors was a guy named Stanley Levison. Okay, and
All
he was a member of
right,
the
I wanna
Communist
say
Party
one
until
thing.
1956, and he
The History.com article he's using here, because I like to look him up, see his sources as he's going through sometimes. The History.com article, he says right here, the next paragraph down actually says that the FBI did not find any ties from MLK to communism. Right there. He's just going to cherry pick this one section just to, just prove his point. But yeah, just ignore what else the article says.
Oh, rock and roll. Let's hear this shit.
secretly gave MLK Jr. $10,000 just 1 year after meeting him.
That's a lot of thousands.
Yeah, adjusted to today's dollars, that'd be about $87,000.
Wow, that's a big donation.
That's a lot more thousands than I thought.
Seems like an odd number, though.
Yeah.
I'm going to give
Inflation.
you $87,000.
Can't you round this shit to 90? I have a dream.
I have a dream to have a big purse.
All you
Just
white,
like a white man.
white devils with your Gucci's and your Michael Kors.
Shock demons everywhere I go.
And your Louis Vuittons, I have a dream. So FBI counteragent Carl Prussian, and again, this is from the biography, just to be clear. So I know that the FBI isn't always a reliable source, but they did wiretap, which I think is a horrible thing.
Yeah.
However, we also have to acknowledge the facts and reality as it relates to MLK's life. You see a progression of him becoming more and more radical. Some people argue it's because of drug use. Some people argue it's just fame is corrosive to the human soul. But he wasn't the guy who a lot of people praised. Sort of like I'm talking about this with Muhammad Ali. It's the flip side, where people with Muhammad Ali don't realize that Muhammad Ali, who was a draft dodger, who was a known racist, who was against intermarrying, against race mixing, later on in his life actually moved out to the suburbs and not only supported Ronald Reagan, campaigned for white Mormon Orrin Hatch.
Oh, wow.
But no one talks about that with Muhammad Ali. People change. If you change the wrong way, you'll notice there's a span of Muhammad Ali's life where he really wasn't a celebrity. He wasn't given the same kind of shine. And then, of course, when he died, we go back to when he was young, when he would say he was young and naive and ignorant. How about once he grew up and apologized for the race baiting and calling Joe Frazier a house Negro and an Uncle Tom, and he said I shouldn't have done that and called Sonny Liston a big ugly gorilla. This is what Muhammad Ali would do with people. He said I was wrong, and I moved out to the suburbs because I didn't want to be in those communities anymore because I have children.
Yeah.
Malcolm X, same thing. Later in his life, he rethought his violence attack rhetoric. He's like, I don't think that was the right way to go. And being connected with the Muslim church.
Yeah.
Who killed
The
him.
Muslim Brotherhood, right? But
It's not good.
It doesn't give you what you want, right? So, Darren, how many white people looked at the Detroit riots and were like,
guys
you know
are
what, they're probably
idiots.
right. Yeah, I totally understand. How many people from
It
the other
hurts
side were
the
brought to
brain.
their cause and like given a chance to see
really
what was going
does.
on?
Well, they had to see it through binoculars.
Well, that's true. What about the riots in Los Angeles? Not the first time, but the second time that they
I believe they're burning down Indian Village. There's a bunch of screaming gay men.
It doesn't bring people to your cause.
No, of
No,
course
people
not.
hate your cause because you're tearing down the city.
Well, MLK became more, so it's a flip side. He became more radical, and so he's venerated. Whereas when Muhammad Ali became more reasonable, they just sort of ignored him for a while. So FBI counteragent Carl Prussian wrote in a sworn affidavit to Congress, I further swear and attest that Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was always set forth as the
Here's
individual to
the
whom communists should
FBI
rally
evidence that he
around in the
uses, even
communist
though he
struggle on
says
many
he
racial
doesn't
issues.
trust the
I hereby also
FBI
state that
earlier
Martin
in
Luther
the
King Jr.
episode.
has either been a member
Okay. Let's hear this.
of or wittingly has accepted support from over 60 communist fronts, individuals, and or organizations which give aid to or espouse communist causes. Number 3, things that might surprise you about MLK. Not only witnessed a rape, didn't do anything about it. 1964, MLK watched as his friend, a Baptist minister, Logan, is it Kearse or Kiersey? I don't know how to pronounce this. Raped a woman at the Willard Hotel in D.C. A lot of you know this, a lot of people don't. Notes from David Garrow, again, this is the biographer, and the FBI Surveillance Docs show, which will be released in 2027.
Yep.
The group met in his Kearse's hotel room and discussed which women among the parishioners would be suitable for natural or unnatural sex acts. When one of the women protested that she did not approve of this, the Baptist minister immediately and forcibly raped her. Quoted directly from the FBI notes, surveillance notes, King looked on, laughed, and offered advice.
That's unbelievable. And by the way, just to be clear, the audio tapes will be released in 2027. These notes right now, and this is what the author said, because he's taken all kinds of flack for it. Nobody is challenging the legitimacy of the claims. They're just saying they bugged it. It was the biggest FBI abuse of power they've ever seen because they bugged him and he didn't know. And they bugged everything. And then they started releasing things to try to get this factual information that they had into the right hands so they could smear King. That was it. Not that it was lies.
Right.
You can go to the National Archives right now. Anybody with an internet connection can go and look this up. It is public.
Well, we have the links available.
Yep, and you have to deal with it.
Loudercredit.com, all references available. I mean, offering advice on a rape is almost shocking.
I never knew
say
that.
so.
Yeah, and he had daughters, too. That's a horrible
It's
thing.
a terrible thing.
It's funny how they're giving it 40 years from the date of the article, 87, right? They figure he can shine for 40, and then we're going to bring facts out.
Yeah.
It's all going to be available in 2027.
Well, if we're tearing down statues, there's a big MLK thing that we should probably go take a look at.
I don't know if it's as bad as Abe Lincoln, who fought against slavery. You got to tear that down.
Well,
but the
yeah,
man
yeah,
who was like,
yeah.
no, get up on, turn around, see?
Well, it's not like Roosevelt where he had in positions of power a Native American and a black person with
This
him.
guy had her in positions of rape.
Well, that's not power.
Well, some say the crime of power.
Well, it's, yeah.
It's not so much a crime of power, so much a crime that I want to have sex, and she didn't.
How do you make a statue of that?
Well,
Jesus.
it requires a lot of iron, a lot of smelting.
If he were to come alive today,
Skilled artisans.
If he were to come alive today to his dream, which is what people focus on, he would say, "We're here. This is it. Exactly what I imagined."
Well, no,
We
Why
were
are you
here,
guys
and then we
complaining?
passed it.
Then we
No,
went
he
back.
would say, yeah, exactly. In the 90s, we were here. We got here in the 90s.
My dream was never to play the victim card in perpetuity, and that's what we have to.
Well, we also have the next one. So if he were alive today, he participated in massive orgies, which he would have loved TikTok.
Man knows how to party. Yeah.
Touche.
Here's the
Just
slut
would've
shaming of
loved the
MLK.
The following night, this is after, I believe, the rape, in which he offered play-by-play.
Jesus. So, okay. Oh, man. These guys are so far down the rabbit hole, it's fucking ridiculous. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Color commentary. MLK and his friend participated in a sex orgy with about 12 people, approximately 12 people. How do you have an approximate number?
Yeah.
If I'm at an orgy,
It's hard to count. There's so
I would
many
have an
parties.
exact count.
It's like the grid system when you're doing crowd estimation. You just
You just 5 feet by 5 feet and then just kind of guess.
Yeah. What do I do? Count them as 1.5. Twins, if they're Siamese, it's 1. If they're separated, we will count them as 1.5 people.
It's pretty musty in here.
Yeah.
The smell must have been bad.
When one woman shied away from engaging in unnatural sex act, King and others discussed how to initiate her, and he told her the act would, quote, help her soul. Well, that's a clever.
I don't think that's true.
He also, no, it did happen, but it didn't help her soul.
The advice, I don't think, is true. I mean,
I have something that will soothe your soul. Is it the word of God? Not exactly. Better have a drink first. MLK also participated in another orgy in Las Vegas with a friend, a prostitute, and the gospel singer Clara Ward. Oh,
That's Las Vegas. Why do we know about this? It's supposed to stay there.
Well, because she sang about it. Yeah, the guy was like, "Oh, happy day! I had sex with MLK." He's like, "Shut up, bitch! Shut up!"
Garrett, you're right. The biggest point in all of this is that things don't actually stay in Vegas.
Yeah. The next day, he's giving a sermon, and of course, as we all know, as Christians, we are to keep our mouths silent, shut, as it relates to secrets or events that have happened in Vegas. We have solemnly sworn that it will stay in Vegas, right, Clara? Right, bitch? That's right.
Not right, so Rob.
My soul doesn't feel so. I didn't promise. No money back. Now, King and Ward watched King's friend Evan, of course, with LaRue, Gail LaRue. LaRue told the FBI investigator, that was the worst orgy I've ever gone through.
Wait.
There's a sliding orgy scale.
Question here.
Was that a 1-star orgy rating?
Yeah, what's the Yelp review here?
This is
I would
so
never go back for
fucking
another orgy
shitty.
there.
Would not recommend
These
experience.
guys are like
That's the last time I go to that
man.
orgy.
Yeah.
Or whips and stuff.
Like,
It's just too much. It was just too orgy-ish.
There wasn't even good food.
And here's the... That's the strip club. They have a fantastic buffet and a wonderful sneeze shield. I tested it. Also, I don't know if you know this. Surprise. MLK Jr. was a black man.
Really?
Yes, he was black. This is another little bit of a swerve. Just in case, because I know the videos are black and white.
Thought he was great.
Yeah, well, black and white, so that's why I know it's tough. You know what's actually fascinating? If you go back and
I can't believe this dude. I can't believe this dude still has a show.
watch young Joe Louis, and sorry, Joe Louis is here, not you. Young Joe Louis, the fighter. He looks like a white guy.
Oh.
In some of them, the way they color correct it, because he'd be fighting like Jersey Joe Walcott or something, and the black guy looks darker, and you just look at him, and he had the hair kind of parted to the side.
Yeah.
You're like, where's Joe Louis? Behind that white man? Are there other Joe Louises? This is not brought to you in Technicolor, but he was black. And here's the thing, despite all these little known facts about him, okay, I want to be very clear. This is about consistency. This is about if you're going to tear down statues because of something that you deem offensive, because people lived an imperfect life, then you would have to apply it to someone who took part in rapes, to someone who was taking parts in orgies, to someone who was misleading about working with communists, right? This is something that we have to be consistent.
I don't think he ever misled about working with communists, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with orgies. I don't know about this rape thing. That seems really weird to me. But the other stuff's so fucking wet, you know?
I mean, in the article that his wife... Anything bad, personal. I just don't understand why this is a talking point that they deemed worthy to be in this smear campaign against MLK.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. But
yeah, Mistopheles sounds great. Sounds based to me.
Yeah, same. Let's go.
Now, I don't think that we can't actually continue to espouse the words that MLK espoused in his most famous speech, where he was talking about the content of character. I think that there are values there that are worthwhile, that are worth pursuing. And as a matter of fact, I think today the Black Lives Matter community and the woke left community who enable them would be well served to heed the words of his speeches as opposed to his imperfect life. But even when we're talking about his speeches, if, to the Pops Trotter's points, if MLK Jr. were alive today and had to give a speech that would get thunderous applause from today's left, it would have to be a very different speech.
All right, I'm going to say one thing. This is unironically the best that I think Crowder's made. They think it sounds awful, but I think this is hilarious. So, we'll see.
Children will not live in a nation where they are judged by outdated norms like their character, but exclusively by the color of his or her Z-skin. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. Fact checkers have determined this to be potentially harmful and misleading information. I have a dream that little black children and little white children will stand 6 feet apart at a pride parade to watch a man be ball-gagged and bullwhipped without fear of age propriety. I have a dream that one day, even in the state of Florida, children of all colors and racial identities will cover their faces to learn critical race theory over Zoom, while dissenting teachers are fired for things they said online 6 years ago and are taken out of context. This will be the day This will be the day when all of science's children, yes, when all of science's children will be able to sing with new meaning. Oh, there ain't no other way, baby. I was born this way. I'm on the right track, baby. I was born this way.
I'm good
so
with it.
let Cheatham ring from the tent cities of Los Angeles. Let Cheatham ring
Let
from the safe
Cheatham
spaces
ring.
of Brooklyn. Let Cheatham ring from the tech firms of Silicon Valley. Yes, all right. Let Cheatham ring from the branches of Santa Monica. But not only that. When we let Cheatham ring from every drum circle at Oberlin and from every remaining Apple store in Portland, we will be able to speed up the day when all of God's pronouns, POCs and bi-POCs, Latinx persons and Chicon-X, yeah, the asexual and the aromantic, allosexual and the autosexual, queers and the genderqueers, the LGBTQ, the LGBTQIA, the LGBTQIA+, the LGBTQIA+, $ eggplant emoji, the Neptunic and the Trixic, the sometimes questioning and the two-spirited, yes. We'll be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old spiritual. Stay home. Yes, stay safe. Thanks, science almighty. Stay home. Stay safe. Spirit fingers.